Hi, this is Mark Hennings with National Media Brands, and I'm going to give you a short presentation today to give you a down-to-earth basic understanding of social media, what it is, and how it's used. What is social media anyway? I want you to understand, by the time I'm done, where social media came from, why people are using it, who is using it, the structural differences that really separate one social media site from another one, and then really in practical terms, the best way to use social media for your business or organization. So what am I talking about when I say social media? Honestly, social media is a really loose term. It's kind of a buzzword right now, and it encompasses a lot of the things that are actually happening on the internet right now. And so we're going to really focus in on social networking sites, primarily Facebook and Twitter. And then I just want to let you know a few things that YouTube it has social media functions, but it's more of a video hosting site. When we're talking about Google, we're talking about a search engine. It's not a social media platform, although they have developed Google+, which is a social media platform or site. And Craigslist is a free online classifieds. And then blogs, we're going to talk a little bit about blogs, and those are written articles on the web. Now, there are some internet themes that I think are really kind of the underlying motion that generated what we have now as these social media websites. And these internet themes are primarily the sharing of information. You know, there's a lot of examples out there of great software programs that were just developed by people who are sharing the code, and that's not how it used to be. You know, code by a lot of companies is very closely guarded, but on the internet, there's a lot of software that's open source. A big example of sharing information has been user-generated content. That's when a site starts up and, you know, they might not have any interesting content right off the bat, but they open it up for people to put their own content up, and then it kind of fills the warehouse of the website. Another big internet theme is freedom and control. You can see this through people love to express themselves on the internet and customize their own things. We see a lot of resistance to regulation and advertisements and kind of the status quo or the structures that people have put in place, and then also a disregard for copyrights. And we hear about these kinds of things in terms of social media all the time, with people resisting, you know, Facebook and Twitter, including ads and complaining about it, and then also the posting of copyrighted things all the time. There's a lot of issue right now with Pinterest and whether or not you're infringing people's copyrights when you repin things on Pinterest. Another internet theme is instant gratification, because people, if they don't get it right away, you know, they're not gonna stick around. So they want instant gratification. And people are now accessing things on their phones, you know, when and where they want it. So that's just continually becoming more and more important when we talk about the internet. Now I want to take these themes and kind of apply them to some of the major social media / big important website mission statements to really show you how true these themes are. So for Facebook, the mission statement is to give people the power to share and make the world more open and connected. Now, when you look at those three themes, sharing, freedom and control, instant gratification, what do we see? To give people the power to share, sharing, and make the world more open and connected. Twitter, to instant gratification, connect people everywhere to what's most important to them. And YouTube, to provide fast, instant gratification, and easy video access and the ability to share videos frequently. So you have sharing and instant gratification. And then Google, to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. So there's sharing and then making everything accessible. There's freedom. So the internet, you can really see how it's all coming together. So here's a relevant question and a really practical one. When would I use Facebook over email? Honestly. And the answer is when you feel like saying something but don't necessarily have a specific person in mind to say it to. Or another way to put that is when you're excited about something and want to share it with a general group of people. Okay, so on email you have the to field, and you have to handpick the people you're going to send it to. And then you're going to maybe CC someone or BCC someone. But Facebook or Twitter, It's like, I'm just going to put this out there, and I'm not sure exactly who's going to see it. I have a pretty good idea of who's going to see it because I know who my friends are and my followers are, but I'm just saying it. So that's kind of what it's like. And you would also use Facebook when you want the latest news or information, or when you want to find out information about someone, because people just put information out about themselves, and they say things like, so it's the flip side of that. People are just saying stuff, and you're learning about them, and you're learning about what's going on in the world and in your local area. Now, this is really interesting, why people use social networking sites. And the reason it's different from email, you can start to see how it comes into play here and why it would be useful for these things. 67% of people use it to stay in touch with their friends. 64% use it to stay in touch with family. 50% use it to reconnect with old friends. And then there are some other reasons here, finding people who share similar interests, making new friends, and following celebrities, athletes, politicians. And a very small percentage use it to find romantic partners, all right? Most people use dating sites for that. They don't need Facebook anymore. Now, here are 2 key terms that you really need to know. Blogging. What is it? It's just writing an article. Now, the interesting thing about the word blog is that it refers both to the written article, the medium it's posted on, and to the act of writing it, to blog. So here are some valid usages. I wrote an article on my blog. I wrote a blog on my blog. And then finally, you could actually say, using the act of writing, I blogged a blog on my blog. And you would get a lot of funny looks, but I think it's legitimate. So, blogs, what you use them for, they're great for being found on search engines. If you're writing good content, search engines are going to find it. And that's a big reason why many people blog. Microblogging, we decided to put the word micro in front of blogging, and basically it's just writing a sentence. So short bits of text. And these are called status updates or tweets, depending on what you're using. Now, microblogs are great for inspiring quotes, tips or hints, links to blog articles, or links to videos or photos or something with more concrete or in-depth information. Now, in Nebraska, if you're in Nebraska, this will be really, really maybe surprising to you, but there's 890,640 active users of Facebook in Nebraska. That's a pretty big deal when you consider that the population estimate of Nebraska for 2011 is just double that. So basically, half of the people in Nebraska are on Facebook. And you can see the age breakdown here. And for gender breakdown, you can see that it's actually a little bit slanted toward female. Some guys are tough, like, I don't need to be on the internet, but pretty much, everyone likes Facebook. We all complain about it. We love it. We hate it. But most of us are on it, so it's pretty amazing. Who uses Twitter in general? It's pretty similar age and gender distribution as Facebook, but what you have is less users than Facebook. So we're looking at less than 1/5 as many, basically. And Twitter is a little bit different because 54% of Twitter users actually access it on their mobile phones, as opposed to accessing it from a desktop computer. You also have a higher minority adoption of it. So 25% of all African American internet users are on Twitter. 19% of all Hispanic internet users use Twitter, and only 5% of white internet users use Twitter. So if you're looking to reach minorities, then Twitter might be the way to go. Who uses YouTube? Well, every internet user, because videos are embedded from across the internet, or all the way across the internet from YouTube. So you put a video on YouTube, you can put it anywhere on the internet because you can embed it using YouTube code to do that. And the reason is it's a very user-friendly place to upload and share videos. Remember, their mission statement was to provide fast and easy video access, and the ability to share videos frequently. Now, YouTube does have its own niche community, but the real power for businesses is to be able to, first of all, host videos there, and in some cases, advertise on videos with specific topics to appeal to specific viewers. And that's pretty powerful. It has mostly been used for large companies, corporations, but I've seen some small businesses local small businesses using it. Who uses Craigslist? Anyone who wants to buy, sell used items locally. And the reason I mentioned Craigslist is because it's actually the 9th ranked website in the U.S. for web traffic. And so it's just important to understand what it is. And in some cases, it's useful for promoting your business under the services section. Craigslist has, in my opinion, basically replaced traditional print classifieds because it's a free online option that's ubiquitous. When someone from my generation in their 20s thinks of selling something on the internet, it's like, if it's local, if it's something that doesn't make sense to ship, they're probably going to go on Craigslist, or if you're looking for an apartment or anything like that, or a house. So let's talk about the structure and the features that separate Facebook from Twitter. Now, a few things that are unique or that are shared between the two, they both have these features, are a news feed, a profile image, right? You can customize your profile. Unique URL for your username or customization. It's easy to share, of course, and then you can access it using a mobile app. The posts are a little bit different. All right, Facebook, the things you're going to see are status updates, which are those microblogs, right? You're going to see photos as well, and links and life events, and videos and all kinds of other things. Twitter is a lot more simplified. It's just a tweet. That's a microblog, similar to a status update. But if you want to look at a photo or a video or something else, then you have to follow the link to a different site. So it's very simplified, and that's where they've been successful, just by staying really simple. Now, the audience on Facebook and Twitter is a little bit different. So if you're posting to your Facebook, then your friends, you kind of know who they are because you had to accept them as your friend. On Twitter, it's follow at will. Everything's public. As for the kinds of interactions you see on Facebook, the big ones are your friends, adding friends, your likes. You can click like on almost anything, and then comments. So if somebody posts a status update, you can add a comment, and then a conversation starts. On Twitter, it's a little bit different. Actually, it's a lot different. You either retweet something that someone said, and this is pretty popular if it's like a funny quote or something like that. So it just shows up under your feed, but it gives credit to them, the original tweeter. And then there's the reply. So you can reply to someone, but all of this is public to everyone, to anyone who searches through it. Now, the organization is organized a little bit differently too. On Facebook, you have user profiles, you have groups and pages and a few other things. On Twitter, it's a little bit different. Actually, it's a lot different. You have user profiles and hashtags. And hashtags can be anything you want. And it's just a way of categorizing your tweet. You include a hashtag and a little piece of text for what you want your tweet to be found under if people are searching for it. Or you can say something kind of sarcastic in your hashtag just for fun. It's kind of like parentheses almost. And I'll show you an example of that. For privacy, I mentioned that Twitter, everything is public. And Facebook, you have a lot more power in setting your personal privacy settings. As for advertising potential, right now Facebook has a lot better and more open advertising capabilities for businesses. You can do really cool demographically targeted ads, and they include image thumbnails, which is pretty neat. On Twitter, it's basically they have featured hashtags right now are the big thing, and it's really not very practical for small businesses to try to capitalize on. More like national brands are using that. Now this is my Twitter. And what I want to show you is the @ symbol. So on June 9th, I said, fun day at a Platte River wedding. And then I used @Michael Hennings, @Tato89, @WedMemories. And these are other people or Twitter users that I wanted to include in on this thing I was saying about a wedding. So on their newsfeed, they saw this, and they saw that that I had referenced them. Now on June 8th, I was at Costco, and I was walking out, and I had my phone, and I was like, I just noticed that people, they looked pretty proud walking out of Costco. I just bought in bulk. I'm feeling good about myself. And so I thought that would be a funny thing to make a tweet out of. People walk out of Costco looking so proud of themselves. And I used #Costco. And so if Costco were on Twitter and they were searching their own name, it would come up that I had hashtagged them as my topic. And so that's kind of where it gets fun, and where you start connecting tweets of different topics and seeing what people are saying about stuff. So that's one of the neat things about Twitter. So what are you going to use it for anyway? Hopefully you have kind of an idea of what's really happening out there, and I put it into some basic terms for you. So what are some business uses for Facebook and Twitter? Well, what you can do is you can build an audience, like an email newsletter or mailing list. So we're familiar with email newsletters, right? And mailing lists. Well, it's kind of the same thing. You build an audience up, and then you can stay in contact with them and let them know things that are going on with your business. Something else that's good is there's feedback. So when you send an email newsletter, it's usually a no reply email address, and you don't get feedback from your customers on it unless they call you up and they're like, hey, why are you spamming my email inbox? Which hopefully they don't do. But on Facebook and Twitter, they're going to feel comfortable and they're going to respond, and you're going to get to read that. And it's really, really neat. You can use Facebook and Twitter as a metric of brand success. A lot of people are doing this. How many people like you is kind of appealing. A little bit of a risky situation to put yourself in. You shouldn't just measure yourself on how many likes you have or how many friends you have. And you should really put it into more concrete terms than that. And what kind of results is this driving for your business? But it is a metric, and you can use it for what it's worth. Another really great use is advertising and promotions. You can do ads, contests, product announcements, and the fact is that this is where people are spending their time. And so you need to advertise to where they're spending their time, and that's on Facebook and Twitter. So it's really important to be transitioning some of your transitional advertising and including this in your ad portfolio. Facebook and Twitter allow an opportunity for users to share. So if you put something out there and it's really good and it's just really interesting, not just like pushy marketing, but just interesting for the sake of what you're saying or what you're showing people, well, people might actually share that with their friends. And so it's free advertising, and you can sometimes even see that happening, and that's cool, and it gives you a sign that some things that you're doing right and some that you might not be doing so well. An interesting use that's come out of Twitter is integrating online community with live events and conferences. So let's say you have a yearly conference. What you could do is you could actually, at the beginning of the conference, let people know a specific hashtag that you're going to be using for the conference. Usually 2012 or whatever the year, followed with the event name. And then people will actually, tweet things. They'll put things out on Twitter, and they'll use a hashtag, and then these people who are at the event can see what other people are saying real time during the conference. And another common business use is social media dashboards. Big companies are getting social media dashboards, and these track, for instance, on Twitter, how I said everything is public. Well, that opens the opportunity for software to run through and kind of start compiling different tweets and making assumptions or decisions about what each tweet means, and then so you can look at a cute little pie chart that says, user sentiment today on Twitter toward your brand, if your brand actually is big enough to have a statistical sample that's relevant. So it's been used for PR purposes like that. What are people talking about? Have we had some kind of an outbreak where people are saying bad things about us because of something we did or a blog? And that stuff happens all the time. And so that's important for big brands to be watching and then handling appropriately. So social media dashboards can do that. I want to tell you that I actually have a brand in our company called Wedding Memories, and we've successfully used YouTube, Facebook, and then integrated it with our website, and it's part of our marketing program. So what we do is on YouTube, well, I should say we do wedding videos, right? So we obviously use YouTube. We put the videos on YouTube. It hosts the videos. And then we, on the video description, we put our Facebook. So the bride, she receives the video, and then she's excited and shares it with her friends naturally, and she's happy to share with her friends. And then when they visit the video and go to it, they see the link to our Facebook, and they're like, oh, this was made by Wedding Memories of Omaha. So then they visit our Facebook, and we end up getting likes out of that because people enjoyed the video. They think what we're doing is cool. So on Facebook, we also post the videos, but we post more than that. We post our blogs from the website, and we invite all our brides to join our Facebook, and they'll comment, and they'll get into it and say things. And we also advertise our page to try to get new likes to engaged couples and friends of friends. And then so people follow this funnel. They just get into kind of our Facebook and they hear about us. And then, if they get engaged or their friends get engaged, then they can go to our website from our Facebook and they know about us. We have a brand online. We have an online presence, and it works out really well. And this isn't how it should be structured for every business. It works really well for us because we do video, but every business needs to have kind of their own marketing strategy and logical flow. And it's really about just providing really good information to people and relevant content to them so that they do things that they want to do, and it just so happens that they're also the things that you want them to do. That's the best way to do business. Now, here are some really important cautions for jumping in. All right, social media is a long-term decision. So what happens if you jump in and then maybe kind of get wishy-washy or don't follow through? When consumers visit a page that hasn't been updated in months or years, it sends a bad message. Social media requires regular attention, especially because it's a constantly changing online dynamic. We have new sites, social media sites popping up all the time, and MySpace fell so quickly that you just never know what's going to happen. So you really have to have people who are on the ball and into what's going on the internet. And then social media requires interesting, relevant content that's more than just products. So you really have to find a soft side of your brand that you can relate to consumers with or your customers. But the biggest benefits of social media, you can build an audience. We talked about this, and consumers see online engagement as a sign that the company is going to be more customer-centered. That the company cares and they're trying things and doing good stuff, and that's a good sign. All right, and your audience, one of the cool things about advertising on Facebook is that you can target specifically friends of fans. Whoever's liked your page, they're friends. That's pretty powerful. Also, Facebook is a good mode of referrals. So if you're posting things and people are seeing it, it's going to remind past customers of your organization, and they're going to refer people to you if you're doing good work and doing good things. And then finally, and I think this is just so important, is that with social media, you can engage directly with your customers. You have direct and immediate lines of communication with customers, and that has a wide range of benefits. Just knowing what your customers like, what they don't like, and listening to them is so critical in developing your future initiatives and products. It's just, I don't know if it can be put into words, but that's what it comes down to, is doing good things with your customers and understanding them, and you're going to see a lot of big benefits that come out of that. So if you want to explore more, what do I recommend? Well, if you haven't yet, sign up for Facebook, sign up for Twitter, and buy an iPhone 4S. I'm just being a little bit facetious, but an iPhone 4S would be really helpful if you're trying to get more into social media and understanding what's happening with mobile. So hopefully that has been, hopefully we've gotten your feet wet in social media, that you understand what it is and how it's used. And if you're interested in learning more and maybe working with us to develop a more specific marketing plan for how social media could be used in your business context, I would highly recommend contacting me. You can see my email at the bottom of the screen, mark@omahavideosolutions.com. And I look forward to hearing from you, and good luck out there on the interwebs.